Hello YouTube, this is Learn Tutorials, and welcome to your 27th GIMP tutorial. Today, I'm going to show you some more color tools in GIMP. So let's get started. First, go to the Colors tab and go to Invert right here. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to take every pixel in the image and it's going to invert the color. So what this does right here, as you can see, if I hit Control Z, that's going to undo the operation. So right here is yellow, but if I hit Control Y, that's redoing, it's going to become blue, because blue is the exact opposite of yellow in the red, green, and blue color wheel. I'm not even sure there's a color wheel based on RGB, but you get the idea. Like it's the opposite of blue. So anyway, moving on. If you go to the Colors tab and go down to Value Invert, what this is going to do, as you can kind of see by the pop-up, it's going to leave the color exactly the same, but it's going to invert the brightness. That means each pixel, like each bright pixel in the image, is going to become dark, and each dark pixel in the image is going to become bright. So as you can see, if I hit Control Z, these eyes right here and down here too are pretty much black, but if I redo the operation, they're going to become almost white, and vice versa for every single pixel in the image. The color will stay the same though. As you can see, the hair right here kind of stays the same, probably because the brightness is somewhere around like 50%, so it doesn't really change that much. So if you go to the Colors tab, you're going to see a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to try to show you guys in the next few tutorials. But anyway, let's get started on Auto, I guess. It's at the top. And give me 1 second, I gotta figure out what some of this stuff is. Okay, I'm back. So what the Equalize right here is going to do, if I click on it, is it's gonna take each brightness value in the image and it's going to try to make that value appear roughly as many times as every other brightness value in the image appears. So it's kinda gonna like I guess equalize the brightness values so that they'll appear the same amount of times as one another, if that makes sense. So 1 second. So what white balance is going to do, if I click on it, is it will take the red, green, and blue color channels and it will go through all the pixel colors and take the ones that happen less than 0.5% of the time, and it will ignore those pixel colors. But for the rest of the pixels, it's going to find the lightest colored pixel and the darkest colored pixel and turn those pixels into pure white and pure black respectively, and bump up the contrast basically, or spread the range, or however you want to say it, for all the pixels in between. So it's kind of like bumping up the contrast, except it's going to ignore pixels that don't occur very often. Now, why does it do that? Because if you have some little bit of dust on the camera lens or something like that, if you took a picture and the dust doesn't really occur that often in the image, I hope it doesn't, it's going to ignore pixel colors like that don't occur really often, and it's going to try to calculate this contrast algorithm, I guess, ignoring the dust or whatever. So that's how white balance will work. Okay, so what Color Enhance is going to do is what the pop-up says. It's going to stretch the color saturation to cover the maximum possible range. Now, I don't really know what this means, but if I click on it, what it's going to do, here's before and after. Before and after. So I think this either will increase the saturation or else it will like, I don't know, make some colors less saturated, make some colors more saturated. I'm not really sure what that means because it's kind of a little vague and the documentation doesn't really help, but I guess it'll just do stuff with saturation. So moving on. So if I click on Normalize, what it's going to do is it's going to take the darkest pixel in the image and make that black, and it's going to take the lightest pixel in the image and turn that into white, and then it's going to kind of like stretch everything in between. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's what it says right there. So yeah, that's pretty simple. Moving on. What stretch contrast is going to do, if I click on it, is the exact same thing as Normalize, but it's going to work on each color channel individually. So it's going to do the red channel and the green channel and the blue channel individually. So it's going to be slightly different than Normalize, I think. Moving on. So what stretch HSV does, if I click on it, is the exact same thing as stretch contrast, except it works not with RGB, but it's going to work with a different color model called HSV. So that's going to let it so that it will preserve the hue of the pixel. So I guess that's it for this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.